good, y'all? It's your boy, The Shows, and if you're new to the channel, welcome to Shows World TV. So I thought I'd do a video about 25 random facts about me. These are not in any kind of order, these random facts. So let's just get to it. To start off, I was born in New York City, and I'm from the Bronx, New York. Hey, I've been here my whole life, right? I am a Gemini. I was born May 24th, okay? 1988. So, do the math. You know how old I am. I hate entering a room or any place and forgetting my purpose for being there. Like, for example, let's say I was going in my room and I know that I was supposed to be getting my keys or I was supposed to be doing something while in this room and I just completely forget about it. I hate when that happens. It has happened more often than usual, which is why I'm starting to think I'm having a memory problem, and I really hope that's not the case. I feel like I'm too young for that, but anyway, I hate that. I'm better at writing than speaking, but I still prefer to call people over texting. You know, I've had this debate with my friends over the years. You know, some people really prefer texting and some, prefer to be called. I really prefer to call people over texting because I just feel like when you're texting somebody, things can get taken out of context a lot easier. When you're talking, things can go by a lot quicker, Now, that's not necessarily say that I have to be on the phone with you for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, which for some reason only happens with certain friends. And I really have to be close to you to talk to you for more than 3 hours on the phone. But in any case, that's me. But I still think I'm better at writing things out than speaking things, which is why when it comes to certain things, I tend to just, I prefer to write it out because my thoughts can be a little more clear. But as far as talking to people in general, I still prefer to call friends over texting them. Yeah. If I don't get to eat when I'm hungry, or if I don't get any kind of good sleep, before I'm ready to wake up, I am a very terrible person for the rest of the day. So just know if that happens, it's probably not personal. I really need my sleep, and I need to not be hungry when I'm dealing with somebody. Otherwise, it's gonna be a bad day. I absolutely hate pickles and onions on burgers. I know that there are people who love pickles on their burgers. And to be honest, I don't really mind onions too much, but I really hate pickles. I just don't like the taste of pickles. I've never eaten a pickle, especially on purpose, okay? I've only probably done it once or twice, and that's really because I was hungry and just didn't want to waste any time trying to go through the burger. But yeah, usually I don't like I don't like pickles and onions on the burger. So yeah, don't serve that to me and we will get along. I didn't start gaining weight a lot until I was in college. Now let me give a little context to that. See, I used to go to school at BMCC near Chambers Street, Lower Manhattan. Basically Brooklyn Bridge City Hall stop, 6th train for those New Yorkers out there. And there's a McDonald's right next to the BMCC school, Borough of Manhattan Community College. Honestly, it was pretty crazy how I was eating McDonald's. It was the cheapest thing available there, so I would eat a lot of that, and I do believe that contributed to a lot of the weight gain that I had. So understand, I wasn't necessarily eating McDonald's on purpose. It was just the closest thing to me, and sometimes I just didn't feel like going out of my way to get food. So I definitely have been, getting better at losing some of the weight in more recent years, and I'll admit it's been a bit of a struggle here and there. So I don't really like to talk about that a lot, but I will say that I have been getting better health-wise with that. And I definitely don't care for McDonald's. That probably should have been one of the facts in here, but anyhow, that's just a little context to give you for that. Okay, as far as the gaining weight part, I'm not the best person for emotional support, but that doesn't mean I can't help you in other areas. See, to give some context, yeah, I'm not good with emotions. Now, I don't really know if that was a learned behavior over time. When I was younger, as a kid and a teenager, but I've just never been that much of an emotional person. Now, if you needed help with a bit of money or if you needed help getting somewhere, I could definitely, do that for you or probably teach you how to do something. But as far as emotional support, like, dealing with a death of somebody or things of that nature, again, I'm not too good with that. And I'm not much of a crier. I only cry at funerals, and that's for people I really care about and things of that nature. I didn't go to my grandfather's funeral on my mother's side because I barely knew the man. I met him, like maybe 3 times in my life, and that was probably when I was 9. The next time I was probably I'm gonna say maybe 11, 12. I don't remember. And then the next time I saw him, I was I was 19, and that was 2007, and so I barely knew him. So I don't need people coming for me in the comment sections. I barely knew the man, so it was hard for me to uh, get upset when he, or to just get sad when he died. It didn't really bother me as much because I barely knew him. So if I'm not close to someone, I'm not gonna form an emotional attachment to the person. It's just how I am. I've been told that I'm great with kids, but I don't want any daughters in the near future. Now, I, I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for that one, but let me explain. It's hard enough being a guy in the world growing up and knowing the way that I used to be with women, especially. But we're not gonna get too much into that. I mean, I mean, the point is that it's hard enough being a guy. Now, imagine if you have to be looking out for people who could potentially get taken advantage of more because they're females. I might have to invest in a shotgun, and I don't really want to do that. And the other thing is now, there's gonna probably be some controversy. People are gonna disagree with me when I say this, but I've noticed, right, from helping from helping to babysit some people in the family who are younger than me. I'm talking like at least, from they were toddlers to they're much older now. Like, now I've noticed that basically little girls are a lot more stubborn than little boys, man. They have a lot more pushback for some reason. No, little boys, they're not as disobedient. I gotta be honest. I can't really say that that happens a lot, but for some reason when it comes to the little girls, they're very they're very daring, they're very stubborn. They really love to challenge you a lot more. Now, you might have a different experience with that, but for me, it's always been that the little girls in my family, they're more challenging, they're more stubborn, they love to talk back a whole lot more, which is why I stress discipline a whole lot when it comes to people. And I'm not a parent, but I am an elder, and so I just feel like, what, I'm not gonna say anymore. The point is, I don't want daughters, and that especially comes from the experiences I've had, helping to babysit people in the family. So that's my take on it. You want to disagree? That's cool. If you agree with me, then fine. But that's just my experience. It may not necessarily be yours. So let's move on. I've only had one girlfriend, and I've had terrible luck getting girlfriends since. And I've not really actively shown any interest in the idea. I've been told certain circles that I'm too nice or I'm too this. I'll just clear the air here. I feel that most women in this country are shallow and superficial anyway. So there's a good chance that if I do find love, it's probably not gonna be in the US of A. Even though I'm from the United States. But that's just how I feel. You can take that however you want. But for some reason, there seems to be a problem with being a kind person in this country, especially when you're a guy. But, I'm pretty sure there are people who would think that maybe that makes me a beta male, but I beg to differ, you know, as far as the whole alpha thing go. But yeah, but that's just how I feel. Going into my next point though, people tend to take my kindness for weakness, and that correlates with the first, the last thing really. But you know, I do think that there's this perception that because I'm a generous person, or that because I'm not as, rude, or basically a jerk as other people in my family, or just even friends that I've had, they think that because I'm not, a certain way, that I can't get aggressive, or that I can't get a certain way with people. And the thing is, I really try to only reserve that for people who I feel deserve it. And I've definitely had an aggressive side, and people have seen that aggressive side of me, and it's not a pretty thing. I don't want people to get it twisted. Just because you see me smiling on camera with you and laughing and making these reaction videos and everything, don't get it twisted. I'm a very entertaining guy, but at the same time, I can get very serious and I can get very intense. I just think people need to realize that just because you have a certain, way of looking at people, that just don't assume that that's because, I'm like that all the time. I can definitely get angry. I just prefer to be a more peaceful person these days. So you take that however you choose to. I don't care for being a super fan of a lot of things, be it internet trends, popular movies and TV shows, sports, or gaming, which is why people probably think I'm a boring person. But I don't really follow sports, and I didn't really care for the Hunger Games, the Twilight series, basically anything that was of this super big popularity. I didn't really follow it that much. That's why when everyone else was talking about these things like the Divergent series, the Underworld films, and things like that, I just really, I could never get into it. Now don't get me wrong, I've definitely been I've made it known that I'm a big MCU fan because I've seen every movie. But like I said, overall, I'm not really a super fan of a lot of things, and that's just how it is with me. Don't take it personal. If you enjoy those things, I'm not knocking. I hate when people cannot own up to their own mistakes and are always trying to reverse the blame onto the other person. This is why I'm not friends with certain people now. I'll admit, I haven't always been the best person to people, but at least I try to, improve my behavior, and I don't really try to say that it's just the other person's fault, that, I've definitely played a part in the problems. But it just seems like everyone else I've known, or just certain people I've known, have always tried to reverse the blame on me, and I've never appreciated that at all, obviously. There's just no respect level there for me at that point, so yeah, I've stopped talking to certain people because of that. So if you're just going to be so dismissive about what you've done, to me, you're just not growing as a person. You're not mature, and you need help with that. But yeah.